Okay, so in this step what we're going to do is show you how to install the amplifier, which has already been done here on this car. This also already has the fire extinguisher mount and the closeout panel installed, as well as the dash with all the ducting. But while we have it open here, I just wanted to show how the amplifier gets installed. What's going to be involved is this bracket here, which has the 1/4 20 riv nuts installed, and again we've got our panel that the fire extinguisher will eventually mount to. What we'll need to do is we need to take these two pieces so that we can make sure that the referencing is correct, so that when we mount this bracket and we mount the amplifier to it in these 4 holes, that it's not going to be out of alignment with the 6 holes in the closeout panel when we go to install that panel and the fire extinguisher mount. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to line it up. You can see there's the 6 holes in the panel and then the 6 riv nuts in the bracket. So you'll line those up, and then with just a couple of the 1/4 20 3/4 inch long bolts, just kind of hold them together. So you go like that. Put your 1/4 20 in. Usually like one on either end. Like this. As you can see, it's a little tricky because of the radius there to try to get everything lined up. It'll kind of want to slide around on you. Just thread that in hand tight. So I'm just going to do one, but again, you would want to come in and do the other side just to make sure everything is in proper alignment. And then what you do is slide this into position so that it's up against the bottom edge of the 1 3/4 tube here. You can see where it's been screwed in with the self-tapping screw. And then the back face of this bracket here is up against the face of the tube that's facing you as you're sitting in the car. So basically you'll just take this, slide it forward like that until it butts up against the 1 3/4 on this plate, and then the bottom brackets will be sitting up against the bottom of that 1 3/4 tube. Then what you can do is line up the amplifier itself with the 4 holes in the bracket. Again, you can see here 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you'll see that you can mount it this way, or sometimes you mount it kind of upside down, depending upon how the wiring of the chassis harness has been located. If it won't reach to the other side so that you can mount it so that you can read the writing on the amplifier, it's no problem. You just flip it over like we've done here on this one, and then what you can do is take the wiring from the chassis harness, plug it in with the male end of the plug here, and then this plug here is for our speaker wires. So again, make sure that these 2 plugs have been prepped by the sub-assembly team. Go ahead and plug those in. You've also got the plugs for speaker wires coming from the iPod or MP3 player connection, so that this wire will be routed up through the center console and over towards the amplifier. Go ahead and plug those in. You've also got this plug here. This is for the actual dial for the volume control itself. So that wire, which you can see here, is also routed up from the center console behind those panels where all the controls are for the iPod plug, and then that will plug in here. So once you get all that stuff located, you can then at that point bolt the top 2 posts on the amplifier to the top 2 holes in the bracket, which you can see here is done by the button head screw and the nylon lock nut. So you can see here one of the short ones here. I believe this is the 1/2 inch button head. 1024 button head uses a 1/8 inch Allen and the 3/8 wrench. Then once you have that done, again, you can make sure everything is still touching the 1 3/4 tube on the front face and then also on the bottom. And then take a couple of your self-tapping screws and drive those in through the bracket into the face of the 1 3/4 tube. One on the outside bottom hole of the bracket and then one on the inside bottom hole. And you can see here these two on the bottom. To be able to put those in, what you'll have to do is then remove this panel from the bracket so that you can come up from underneath with a drill or the battery powered impact, or the you can also use the 90-degree air drill to be able to get in there to get the two self-tapping screws in the bottom. You'll see here that there's two holes in that bottom bracket. We're only using the front holes. So again, one on this side and then one on the other side, which again the bracket will be located like this. So that's the main thing to note, is that you want to get everything located with the four screws up on the top here, and then you can remove this panel that will allow you to have access to be able to drill these panels in. So once that's done, you can then put this panel back on the shelf for later install after you've done all the routing of the AC ducts, which again you can see here has been already done with this car with the dash in. So basically just take that panel, put it back on the shelf so you can route all your ducting, and then we'll cover the actual install of that panel with the fire extinguisher mount in a later step.